Hello and one and all. How is it going, everybody? This is something I've been wanting to talk about for some time now, and after seeing videos from other people talking about this, talking about Marvel, saying Marvel's not as good as it used to be anymore, and of course Martin Scorsese himself saying Marvel ain't cinema; it's more roller coaster rides, and also um, will people continue the MCU even if it's not as good as previously, or will they come to the point where they think, okay, I've reached my mark. I think I cannot take this anymore. I think the MCU's gone too far. Well, I am here to basically just sort of give my own opinion on Marvel. So, The Marvels, the most recent MCU movie. I have not seen that because I could bear to watch it or cared to see it. Um, I mean, I like Miss Marvel from the TV series Miss Marvel. She's a good character, but oh no, the Marvels just didn't really make me care to go and see it. Now I have seen the latest MCU TV shows on Disney Plus. Miss Marvel, She Hulk, Secret Invasion, and Loki season 2. Loki season 2, I think, is pretty good, although it's not as good as season 1, in my opinion. I think it's pretty good, and I think Loki should just stop there if they're continuing the MCU. I think Loki should just, because I honestly don't see what else you can do with him, if I'm being honest with you. Um, The other shows have either been okay, like Miss Marvel, or just not very good, like with She-Hulk and Secret Invasion. And I thought after Loki season 2, yep, this is it. I'm done with the MCU. You know, although although I did enjoy quite a bit, it's definitely one of the more better MCU TV shows. I mean, certainly the first season of Loki is probably the best Disney Plus Marvel anything, I think. Regards to other ones I like, Hawkeye I think is the most underrated. The first two episodes aren't great, but the rest of this series I think is pretty good. WandaVision I enjoyed quite a bit. I mean, um, and then also Moon Knight with Oscar Isaac. But for the most part, the TV shows have been very up and down. And having a look at the movies right after the Infinity Saga, because Spider-Man Far From Home is after Endgame, yes, but it is still part of the Infinity Saga. You know, regards to movies that came after Avengers End, or the Infinity Saga, whatever you want to say. Movies I enjoyed: Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, pretty good. Something fresh in the MCU. Spider-Man No Way Home feels like a tribute to Spider-Man himself being the most grown-up Spider-Man, and it just felt like it was the most supportive Spider-Man out of all the Spider-Man movies. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which came out this year, that was the best one since Endgame, in my opinion. And out of anything after Endgame, Guardians Volume 3, in my eyes, is the best film since then. And Doctor Strange 2 and Black Panther 2 are fine, but they could have been better. But for the most part, again, the movies have been very up and down. Like, Phase 1 of the MCU, from Iron Man to the Avengers, like, although it had some misses like Iron Man 2, at least the series took its time. And then Phase 2, from Iron Man 3 to Ant-Man, it was just taking its time. It was like 2 products a year, which I think was quite enough for releasing an MCU. Then, of course, you have Phase 3, from Captain America Civil War up to Spider-Man Far From Home. Again, 3 I wouldn't mind, but I think 2 was quite enough for the MCU, because, of course, 2017, it had 3 movies released. Then 2018 also had 3 movies released, and then 2019 did as well. And 2020, we didn't get anything because of the pandemic, obviously. 2021, from then onwards, it was just like all over the place. It just seemed like if Kevin Feige wanted to go for a style where he wanted to make the multiverse saga bigger than the Infinity Saga, then you could at least have more time on these stuff. Some feel like they could be movies like, say, Falcon and the Winter Soldier could have been a movie, or Eternals could have been a TV show by itself, rather than just a 2-hour and 40-minute film. I saw Avengers Endgame 3 times in the cinema, which I rarely do. And that movie is probably some of the best theater-going experience I've had in my life. And yet, after they showed all the cast in the credits, and then whenever the credits went black at the end, some woman who worked at the cinema that I saw Endgame said, "No post-credit scene." And I was like, that's unlikely for a cinema. That truly had the experience. And yes, there was obviously no credit scene in Endgame, which to some people, like myself, quite like that. And hey, even with the X-Men series in Logan, that did not have a credit scene at all. And yet, movies after that have been flopping, But after Endgame, by far the most successful MCU film was Spider-Man No Way Home, because people loved Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Some admired Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, even though his Spider-Man career has been up and down. It just felt like a movie that everyone wanted to see for a long time. Have 3 live-action Spider-Man come together. Then everything else is like either below $1 billion at the box office, and the Marvels is probably the biggest flop opening we've had in the MCU. And my own prediction for the MCU is that if no one wants to go off and see MCU movies anymore right after movies that become more flops and flops, then will it be a possibility that the MCU will close down? Look, I mean, I'm going to stay away from the MCU. One of the reasons why I did the Future of the Channel 3-parter series, well, that was the 3-part of my channel update. My second part was my education discussion, and then my first part was sort of my opinion on how movies are now these days. And you do hear this a lot. Why aren't movies as good as they used to be anymore? And with Martin Scorsese, he's come out there, and even before the multiverse saga started, he has come out and said that the MCU or Marvel or superhero movies, whatever, aren't cinema. They are more roller coaster rides. I mean, some people out there are against him because of what he said, and yet it's just, a good reason why I've mainly had this channel as classic movie reviews. I mean, it's one of those things where if you look at movies, go, I'm not tired of watching movies, but I'm just tired of criticizing them, or talking about them. Or unless one aspect is that the only way I want to talk about movies is something that I enjoy. And look, I don't expect MCU to be as good as like Infinity War or Endgame or Winter Soldier or Civil War, For a while after Endgame, I was like, I just want, as long as I enjoy the MCU, and a couple of times I've had, like with Guardians 3, Spider-Man 3, and Shang-Chi, but the majority of products after the Infinity Saga, they just either been way off the mark. I mean, if this is like the style Kevin Feige's going for, because look at the Infinity Saga, okay? 2008 started off with Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk, and then 2019 ended with Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, and Spider-Man Far From Home. That's 11 years in the making, from 2008 to 2019. That is like 11 years and 23 movies in a belt. 11 years in the making is like a big achievement. And yet with Phase 4, it felt like it was just having 17 products out there, because you have like the TV shows of it. So let me see. So you have like 7 TV shows, and then like 7 movies in Phase 4. From Black Widow up to I think Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And yet it's just like they're releasing like almost 20 movies within 2 years, which is a lot of effort. It just seems like you're rushing your interest, your industry, and I'm going to do another wee little sort of channel update videos, sort of an monologue to my 3-parter series, for saying thank you for watching those 3 parts. And I will also have more to say, which I will make a video on that at the end of this year, hopefully. And then work out if I'm going to continue doing my best films of the year video. Or not, because movies now these days are just up and down. And there's a whole bunch of discussion. I could easily extend this video, not just Marvel, but also anything really involve Star Wars, which I might probably do a video on Star Wars in May next year, 2024. And another big thing, physical media is getting away from the US, Target, Best Buy, the American supermarket stores are no longer going to sell physical media. Here in the UK, Sainsbury's does not do. Sainsbury's, one of the supermarket stores in the UK, does not sell physical media anymore. Asda, I've been into recently, that still does physical media. I haven't looked in Tesco recently, but I think they do physical media. And then, of course, we do have quite possibly the biggest film/music retail shop in the UK, known as HMV, which is like my favorite shop to look in because I love looking at physical media stuff. And I think another big thing with the Marvel is Disney Plus, you know. In 2021, the pandemic was sort of slightly going away after 2020. Then they obviously put Black Widow on for about $19.99 on Disney Plus. And I would rather go to the cinema and see a movie and experience it on the biggest screen possible with an audience. Doesn't matter how big the audience is, as long as I enjoy something, you know. And the majority of the times with the MCU, it just feels like I'm not, okay? Although I did review everything from Phase 4, I think. Literally the only thing from Phase 5. I know it only started in 2023 this year, but the only MCU product from Phase 5 I've been reviewing is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The only two things from Phase 4 I haven't reviewed are Miss Marvel and She-Hulk. I reviewed pretty much everything else on the YouTube channel. I mean, I myself am going to have a break from Marvel. And if they, for whatever reason, say, look, Marvel is getting back on track, because that could happen anytime soon, which I kind of highly doubt they would, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. But I've been very icky about it, and yet it just hasn't very made me cared and made me very motivated, you know. I'm just like, okay, here's this MCU movie, blah, blah, blah. And yet whenever Phase 4 ended, I was like, okay, I see why they're trying to make this a bigger phase than the first 3 phases, which were the Infinity Saga, okay? And trying to accomplish something, like have a couple of specials, some TV shows, and of course movies, which we have most likely been experiencing. You know, if this is the style that Kevin Feige is trying to aim at for the MCU, fair enough, but he really needs to start thinking what he's going to do. You know? And I'd be very interested to see how many people are going to visit the MCU now these days, especially the fact that the newest film, The Marvels, is probably the biggest opening flop. All the MCU movies coming afterwards, I'm very curious to see how that goes. Even if I don't see all of them, I'm just going to have a break myself. If not everyone's going to agree with me, I can guarantee that. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. That's the truth. Even though some people like to make fun. Oh, that's just your opinion, man. Big Lebowski. But, I mean, if you have a different opinion, that does not mean you're a bad person. That's an individual's choice, as long as you take it seriously, you know, and as long as you're completely honest about it. And I'm glad that people are still continuing with Marvel. If you are, great. Have fun with it, you know? But if I just give you guys some advice, try not to ask me questions in the comments about what I think of this MCU product. I mean, please try not to ask questions about it, because I'm trying to do different stuff, you know? And I'd love to expand this, not just Marvel, but anything, but I just wanted to particularly stick with Marvel, you know? But that's pretty much all I've got to say. So comment down below, let me know what you guys think of the MCU. Do you think it's ending, or do you think it's ended already? Do you think there's more for it? I mean, don't be afraid to say that you disagree with me, because this is a fascinating topic. But as always, if you're new to my channel, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, share this video, and notify that bell before you leave. And as always, until my next video, I shall see you then, and peace.